Welcome to the Wear, Wag, Repeat podcast. I'm Tori Mystic, here with my dogs Lucy and Bert. Together, we're interviewing cool, creative women entrepreneurs in the pet industry. Do you dream of working alongside your dog? Then sit, stay, and listen to the latest episode to find the inspiration and resources that will help you grow your own dog-inspired business. On this episode, I'm talking to the creator of Found by Fetch about starting an online shop for people and pups. We discuss the pros and cons of carrying inventory versus drop shipping, how to assemble a team to help with photos, graphics, brainstorming, and more. And then we also talk about finding inspiration, both from the amazing women makers in the pet industry and the animal rescue organizations that give all of this work meaning. Brooke Lima's lifelong love of dogs and design and a gnarly online shopping habit led to the creation of her company, Found by Fetch, a thoughtfully curated multi-vendor e-commerce platform for all things human, hound, and home. Determined to work for herself and support small, woman-owned businesses internationally, she decided to hit pause with a year left on her master's degree to work on the brand full-time. Born and raised in New York, Brooke finds happiness in live music, dirty chai lattes, a good bagel, and her hilarious dogs, Shira and Benjamin. She lives in the vibrant, dog-friendly East Village of Manhattan with Benjamin and Shira, as well as two fabulous human friends. Hey, Brooke.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I'm so excited to talk to you because I think we have so much in common.
We really do. From the eyebrows to the love for dogs, I mean.
Well, and a dirty chai latte is my favorite drink as well.
What kind of milk?
Well, ideally like a coconut milk or an almond milk, but then we're getting to like the $7 coffee drink territory.
It's like $8.50 a
Which
day.
sometimes I feel a little bit ridiculous.
Same, but I also will never stop doing it.
So tell us all about Found by Fetch. How long have you had your online shop?
Yeah, so I launched all of the social media and the website and really started doing outreach to different small brands in January of this year. And then we launched on March 6th. So March 6th is when all the products went live on the site. So it hasn't been that long, but it's been so amazing so far. And it's just the amount of amazing women, mostly people, but mainly women, that I've met just through social media, from like you to the amazing women that make the products that I sell. That's been like a whole reward in and of itself.
Yeah, I agree with you. So my shop, I haven't had it very long either. It's actually about a year since I've had it. It launched August 1st, 2018. And in that time, like, I think you just learn so much in this first like 6 months to a year. But the most amazing thing has just been all the women and all the dog lovers. And, you know, it's hard. There's been so much to learn and figure out. But I think that makes it easier because everyone is just so nice.
Absolutely. I mean, the amount of support that I've been shown, and that, you know, I'm a supportive person by nature, especially to other women, and I take my friendship so seriously. But I mean, I didn't even know I had this much like cheerleader in me up until I started really experiencing how hard it is sorry, my dog is on my shoulder. Until I started experiencing it, you know, firsthand that way. I didn't really understand like just how instrumental that support is. So it's been great. Thank you for all, I mean, your support has been wonderful too. You've been such a great resource for me. So I really appreciate that.
Good. Well, I that's kind of like my goal really with this podcast, and so much of the other stuff that I do is to like you said, be a cheerleader and support everybody in what they want to do. Because I really truly believe like the more the merrier, and the more of us out here who are like living our truth, then like the better everything is going to be for everyone.
Totally. I mean, I think that everybody just having their own brand, even if it's similar, if it's in a similar industry, if it has the same or similar mission or goal, if you're just unapologetically yourself as the face of the brand, you're going to stand out and be different, and you're going to resonate with people in your own way. And that's the people that you want to resonate with, because those are going to be your lifelong customers and people who want to work with you. So I think, and that's where like the whole comparing yourself to other brands, it's rather than celebrating the really special differences comes in. So I think that's probably the main thing that is driving me every day, is to just remain, hence why I'm talking to you with the face mask on. Like, just be yourself. You're different. It's great.
Well, luckily podcast listeners cannot see us, so they don't know. It's just between you and me.
Amazing.
So tell us, like, okay, you talk a lot about finding what's authentic to you and your audience and all that kind of stuff. Did you do any kind of like research or like maybe just soul searching? Like, how did you figure out exactly what is unique about your brand and like how you communicate that to people?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just really took a look at, I think it's important sometimes, to zoom out on the bigger picture, but then I think it's also really important to zoom in and be in the moment and think of what you do on a day-to-day basis. I mean, my day, on social media or, the things you share with the world, you share big events like trips or travels or big life events. But I think the day-to-day can be so interesting and so special. So, I mean, my day consists of going to the dog park, like putting on an outfit I like, shopping online sometimes and working and writing. So it's just those little day-to-day things that I wanted to kind of curate on my site, like things that I really love. And I think, I mean, I get ready to go to the dog park. I like, I care what I wear. I want to wear something comfortable and cute. So I think and I share my home with 2 really hairy dogs, but I don't really want to sacrifice having nice things that are also practical for a home that you share with your animals. So I think that my brand, I'd say it's everything for human, hound, and home. I really just try to find things that I want and that I like. So I think that, and everyone's interests are so different. So I think that's what makes, my brand curated in a way that might be different than other brands.
Yeah, kind of like, it sounds like elevating the everyday.
Yeah, totally. And like celebrating it.
Yeah.
Especially because we're lucky enough to have these, these dogs. We live with animals. It's so cool. Like it makes us so unique too as dog parents. So I think that's just something that shouldn't ever be overlooked. I feel so grateful that I get to spend my days with these guys. So
likewise. Yeah.
I know having 2 is the best, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, they're not really great at their jobs. Like they're not good receptionists or assistants. They don't know how to type. I've been trying to teach them forever. Yeah, I would rather work alongside them than like the most capable person.
Same. Me too. I couldn't agree more.
So, okay, we have to talk about like the logistics a little bit of your store. So I know from starting mine that it is so difficult just to figure out like, where am I going to store all this stuff? Like, how much do I order? Like, how do I do this? And so, like, living in New York City in an apartment, you have limited space. So tell us a little bit about how you manage like the inventory and fulfillment for your store.
So drop shipping is your best friend.
Tell everyone what that is in case they don't know what drop shipping is.
So drop shipping is when you do not hold any inventory. And it's not necessarily that you don't want to. It's that you live in Manhattan and there's nowhere to put it. So it's the manufacturer, since it's a multi-vendor model, the different manufacturers and the different small businesses either hold their inventory that's already made, or if it's an exclusive line for my site, they make it as ordered through my site. So I did start out carrying inventory and it was a disaster. I mean, I didn't have anywhere to put it, but I also was so careful with these things. I mean, my stuff I throw all over the place, but then it was like these precious things that, weren't mine and that I wanted to bring to people. So it was just, my whole closet was just dedicated to leashes and bow ties and all things like that. So it just wasn't practical, wasn't working for me. And I also trust these women that have been doing this for a while and that is their thing to package things beautifully, to ship them on time. You have to know your strengths. And like, well, my strength is curating, and I enjoy the customer service aspect. I really like building relationships with people. Shipping things on time, like, not my jam. So I'd rather, the people that have been doing this and supporting themselves with this stellar service, I'd rather just have them do it, and then they can brand it how they want to brand it, which is the whole point. I want these brands to get exposure. Like when I reach out to a brand and they're not ready to work together because they're so busy with their own stuff in their own store, I'm like, that's the best reason ever that you could have to not work with me. Like, it's I celebrate that because it's the goal. It's what I think, it's what I want for myself. It's what I want for every girl I've met on Instagram. So drop shipping, yeah, best friend.
So it sounds like there's been like maybe a few people who just like couldn't be a vendor because they were too busy, but have you had anybody kind of push back that they weren't able to do drop shipping?
No, not so
That's
far.
awesome.
Yeah, so far drop shipping is, especially for businesses where, so there's two kind of models that I do with my partners. So one of the models that I follow is drop shipping with inventory and things that they already have on their site. So it's kind of just business as usual for them, whether they have the inventory, whether they already do, make to order. It's basically just adding their inventory to another platform. But then the other model I do with some different brands, like Kai's Roughwear, shout out. She's awesome. She is a mom. I literally could talk about her all day. Her name's Ray. She's phenomenal. She's just,
I follow her on Instagram.
Oh my God, she's a dream. She's just like so trusting. I reached out to her like the very beginning of all of this, and she's like, yeah, I'm down. Let's do it. I was like, all right, this is my people. But with her, I have these designs in my head, whether it's the splatter paint rope leashes or the rainbow ombre leashes that we do with the brass accents and the brass hardware. I communicate that to her, and she makes one of each and she sends it to me so I can photograph it. And then from there we do the drop ship model, but it's more made to order. So I either have, it's bigger brands like Soda Pup is really big, and they have the bandwidth to sell on multiple platforms. So I just have their inventory on my site, and then I have, a smaller set of things like with Ray from Kai's, where we design things that are exclusive to my site. So she does not sell them through her own channels.
Right. So is your site built through Shopify or something else?
Shopify is awesome.
Yeah. Well, and what's really neat for people who are listening, if you go look at Found by Fetch, which is foundbyfetch.com, or if you go to the Wear, Wag, Repeat shop, both of our stores are built on Shopify, yet they look so different. Like you can really customize it to look how you want.
Totally. Absolutely. And it's been so like user friendly for someone like me that, doesn't even know how to hook my earphones up to my computer. I think that, yeah, there's just so many platforms out there now. Hi, Bert.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the dogs are behind me.
There's, I know, I keep forgetting that they can't see me. There's just so much that you can teach yourself to do, which I think is incredible. And, knowing your strengths and weaknesses, but then also being able to learn something new in 20 minutes. It's great. It's like a very good time to be in e-com and an entrepreneur for sure.
Yeah, I think it's just, I think about this, I reflect on it all the time, that it's just so cool what we do, because if you have an idea today, you can like put it up on the internet for sale tomorrow, in some way, shape, or form. You could do like pre-sales if you don't actually have the thing made yet. There's like so much you can do. It's so cool.
Absolutely.
It's hard to find dog mom gear that fits in with the rest of your style. I love my dogs, but I don't want paw prints on everything I own. The Wear, Wag, Repeat shop is full of artist-designed apparel, handmade accessories for you and your dog, and stylish gifts for the dog obsessed. Best-selling products from the Wear, Wag, Repeat shop, like our Puppy Breath candle, have been featured on blogs like Proud Dog Mom and The Daily Dog Tag. Your dog is already spoiled, so treat yourself. Get 15% off your first order when you visit shop.wearwagrepeat.com and use promo code PODCAST. That's shop.wearwagrepeat.com, promo code PODCAST. So, do you have any favorite resources or places that you've learned how to do all of these things?
Yeah, so I am a big believer in asking people that are good at things if they can help you. I don't find any shame in it. If I can repay them in any way, I do. I've been so lucky to have just this network of people, predominantly that I met at the dog park on the Upper West Side before I moved downtown, honestly. So my product photographer, we met through our dogs, and she's absolutely wonderful, and she teaches me so much about, her name's Carol Foreman. She teaches me everything about lighting to why you can't bring 6 dogs to a photo shoot because you'll get nothing done. She's like, yeah, we can shoot, but don't bring 9 dogs this time. I'm got it. So she's been such a great resource for me on the creative front. One of my roommates, Rose, is a graphic designer and an illustrator for Nickelodeon. So she's helped me so much with design. I have a friend who went through the whole Shark Tank experience. So for him if I have an idea, I'll text him at 2 a.m. and I'll be like, how do you make a prototype? So it's just little things like that. So it's everything from, time alone on the internet, just reading and watching videos and seeing what resonates with you and your learning style, but also just not being afraid to reach out to absolutely anyone. Because people are eager to help. They really are. And you also just never know what you'll be able to do for somebody else down the road. And I think that people that are in our unique situation of doing things on our own, there's a camaraderie. We all kind of understand that, and the importance of being kind and helpful.
Yeah. And I think it's so important for people to realize it really takes a team to pull these things together. And I think that sometimes I feel like I work all by myself and this website and store and everything is all by myself. But really, in reality, I have someone who edits this podcast. I have someone who helps me with back end stuff on my site. I have so many people, and then all the people who help me with my shop, people who sew the bandanas for me and that kind of stuff. So you do kind of need a team, and whether they're people who you're just asking for a favor or people that you're hiring and paying, it's kind of a cobbled together mix of all those things that make all of this possible.
Totally, 100%. And it's also just people's belief in you also. So I think it's just great. I just love it. It really does. It makes me so happy. It really, this was such a scary thing to do. And then within a day, my faith in humanity was just restored. And my faith in women and women supporting each other has just love it. Love a good girl gang.
Yes. The squad is strong. So talking about photos, I always love talking about photos. And so you were talking about how Kai sends you one leash or something to take photos of it. Do you take original photos of everything in the shop, or is it kind of a mix?
Yeah, so it's kind of a mix. So I started out doing most of the product photography myself with Carol, just because I was holding inventory at the time. But then if I'm partnering with an organization, a business that has their own stock photography that they can provide me with, that's fabulous too, because it means they never have to ship anything to me. But I really do enjoy a little bit of that creative control. But some brands don't want it. They want, as long as it fits the aesthetic of my site and as long as people can see what they're getting, and then, doesn't really matter to me.
Have there been any mistakes that you've made in product photography or lessons that you've learned about how to take better photos for products?
just stay out of the photographer's way. I'm just so, I'll just be standing there like trying to get the dog to look at the camera, and the photographer will be like, you're making like a really gnarly shadow. Like, I need you to move. So I think just paying attention to the surroundings when it comes to, where you're positioned in a room can just change the whole way that the photo comes out. So I am learning a lot about that. But as far as mistakes, I mean, I haven't noticed any yet, but I'm sure there'll be some questionable pics at some point.
The reason why I ask is because on my site, so I have several different like t-shirts that I sell in my shop, and most of the graphics are on like the top part of them. So I took all these photos with the shirts like folded in half, and then I've gotten a number of DMs from people asking if I have anything other than crop tops in my shop. And I'm like, there's only one crop top. I don't know what you're talking about.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh. Like, do you have anything other than like little Coachella outfits, Tori?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, walk your dog in this like crop top bra.
Amazing. Oh, I love it. Yeah, that's hilarious. I never even would think of that.
I certainly obviously did not think of it. So I need to go like reshoot everything. So okay, you're our whole conversation I think has been a lot about like being inspired by this community. So can you tell us a little bit about maybe some other brands or personalities online that inspired you with what you're doing?
Yeah, totally. I mean, if you look at my feed, I'm very into like the Vogue archives and the Vanity Fair archives. I really love old photography, and I really love going through to see how animals have been incorporated into that photography and into all these editorials. So, all the high fashion brands and like the fashion houses really inspire me. I mean, they've been inspiring me since I was little. I've just always had such a love and an interest in that whole world. And then there's brands whose photography and like a whimsy I just really admire, like Catbird. They're a jewelry store in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. The Academy I just really like their tongue-in-cheek way that they curate old photos, new photos. There's just so many brands, Reformation, Cult Gaia, and it's funny because none of these are dog brands. But again, I just think that blurring the line is great and important. And I'm so inspired also, not only just aesthetically but content-wise, by all the rescue organizations I follow. They just really bring me back from. They've helped me keep the balance between aesthetic and a little bit. They keep me from going into the shallow end, if that makes sense. Because ultimately, what are we here to do? We just want, a better life for these animals. So I think a combination of some, like high fashion houses and some, labor of love rescue organizations, kind of somewhere in the middle of that.
Yeah, I love that. I think you're right, because I love looking at fashion images, but then when you see like an amazing rescue story or adoptable dogs or something like that, it kind of like brings you back down to earth and reminds you, why it is, why we do what we do.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
So speaking of dogs, this is a great transition because I want to know everything about Shira and Benjamin. First of all, I love that their names just make them sound like your children.
Oh my God, I know. It's so funny because in college I babysat for two kids named Riley and Cooper, and then my dogs were Benjamin and Shira, and I was like, I think we got them a little switch there. Like,
yeah, the kids sound like dogs, yeah.
100%. Cute names, but my dogs definitely sound like, little old Upper East Siders, so... so Shira I've had for this September will be 6 years. She's around 10 or 11 now. I got her when she was between 4 and 5. I got her in college when I was a junior in college. And I wanted a dog. I had just lost my dog that I had since I was 7. She lived to be like 17 years old. She was super old. And I was ready for a new dog like 11 months later. And I saw her online. It's like a now shut down website. It was like deathrowdogs.com or just something really awful. And she was at the ACC. So at the time it was Animal Care and Control. Now it's Animal Care Centers in Harlem. And her, I went there thinking she was a boy, like just totally wrong info online. But then I saw her and I just, oh man, like she was just meant to be my dog. I'm so obsessed with her. I just couldn't love her anymore. And Ben was my foster fail.
Aw, how did you get into fostering? Like, what rescue was he from?
Yeah, so he's from Hearts and Bones Rescue. It's founded by two awesome young women. One of them is here in New York. She lives in Brooklyn, and the other is in Dallas. So Dallas, Texas has a really awful shelter system. Dogs are put down really regularly. So they pull dogs from the Dallas shelter and bring them to New York and for foster and adoption. So I signed up for the foster roster, and it's a newsletter that lets you know when dogs are in need of foster homes. And I didn't exactly know how it worked. I kind of thought that you saw a dog on the roster and you're like, that one, and that's the one. So I showed up thinking I was getting this little dog that kind of looked like Shira, named Kelly Clarkson. And I was like, here to pick up Kelly, got all her little bag and all her little stuff. And they were like, oh no, she was adopted, real quick. So I was like, great, let me know in the future if you got any little ones. They're like, well, a lot of people's buildings have a weight restriction and, we don't really know where this guy's going. And I was like, sure, I'll take a look. And he's 80 pounds and now he lives with me.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
He's a big boy. I never thought I would have a dog this big. I really didn't.
But isn't it awesome? Because I only had big dogs.
He keeps me so warm.
Yeah. That's how Lucy gets hot and she just can't have it, but she likes to sit in her own corner of the couch and then just give me side eye. That's her thing that she likes to do. But Bert likes to lie on top of me so that I can feel his breath on my neck.
I love it. I just think it is it's just the best. They're both really, really cuddly dogs. Ben will cuddle up with me and stay there for a while, and Shira will cuddle up with me, and I'll once I stop scratching her or rubbing her, she's over it. She's like, all right, you're not gonna scratch me. You don't deserve my presence. I'm like, all right, girl, you do you. I got Ben. So
yeah, I think it must be a girl dog, boy dog thing.
She's been so great though, because she was she was the only child for so long. So to have this big dopey dog who does not understand how big he is just come in and kind of take over all the physical space, at least she's been wonderful. And he's a very anxious dog. Ben has some issues that we're working through, but I don't think that he would have made any of the progress that he has made without her. They really, really complement each other really beautifully.
That's so awesome. I love it. So do they model stuff for you?
They do. Ben is not the best model because he just always wants to be in your face. So telling him to sit and stay just isn't a thing. But Shira is extremely food motivated, so she's the perfect model. She has a weird cherry eye going on right now, so I'm waiting till that clears up. It's really not on brand. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, no, Lucy had a hot spot and had to have a large area of her head shaved. And I was like, Lucy, we can't take any photos. I have campaigns we're working on. You need to think before you scratch.
When I quit my full-time job and I started graduate school, and my classes were at night, mainly in the evening. So I started dog walking for a full year, and I have so many dogs now that I use as models. So that's another, network that has just been instrumental in all of this too. Cause I'm like, hey, I have a photo shoot in 10 minutes. Can I kidnap your dog? Well, you're doorman, let me in. They're like, sure, have him back by 8. So that's been really fun.
That's a really fun story. I love that. Well, unfortunately, we've kind of reached the end of the time for the podcast. So tell everyone where they can find you online.
Yeah, so you can find me on my site, foundbyfetch.com, Instagram, not hashtag, what is it? I'm like 80 years old. At Found by Fetch. Pinterest is Found by Fetch, and Facebook is facebook.com/foundbyfetchnyc.
Awesome. Cool. Well, everyone go check it out. See what Brooke is doing.
Thank you so much for having me. This was such a treat.
Thank you for listening to the Wear, Wag, Repeat podcast. You can fetch show notes at wearwagrepeat.com. If you like what you hear, please hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And until next time, we'll see you around the dog park.